There's some about 90 minutes south of here in Philadelphia. The Eagles clinching their second straight NFC East title on Saturday. They got the following a 31-0 blowout of the Raiders and a 29-18 victory over the Commanders. Jalen Hurts threw 2 touchdowns. The run game accounted for another 2 on an afternoon where the Eagles tied their highest offensive output of the season with 385 yards.
Ooh.
So, Jeff, have the Eagles righted the ship, so to speak, on offense?
I hope so, and I think so. Here's the thing. It's not about, to me, it's not about offensive production. It's about the formula they use to win. This is their formula. I know it's not sexy. I know everybody on Get Up and on First, it's not pretty. When Breeze and I were talking about it, it's boring to watch. It can be boring to watch. But this is their style of winning, and every coach has to know what their specific formula is. And for them, a low-risk, high-reward formula is the one that works. Play really good defense. They're about to get Lane Johnson back at right tackle. Jalen Carter's going to come back, so 2 of their best players on their football team. They are leaning more into Saquon and Bigsby, running the football, getting into empty, watching Jalen Hurts be able to use his legs, spread everything apart so he can see it. They're finding their formula to win. This is a very good football team. Do not sleep on them. They will not be intimidated once they hit the playoffs. And by the way, 21 years, NFC East, never back-to-back titles. To get that's a big deal.
Last time 04.
Exactly. I look at this. I remember back in 2018 when we won the Super Bowl. I was in New England at the time, and we ended up losing the game to Miami on that Miami Miracle. We ended up losing the game in Pittsburgh with a chance to clinch the division. And at that point, all the articles were being written. Mad Dog was on the radio saying, this Patriots team, the dynasty is over. Brady can't do it anymore.
I was.
No.
I jumped to conclusions.
Probably. Our last 2 games that season, we played the New York Jets and we played the Buffalo Bills. 2 teams that were already eliminated for the playoffs, weren't good football teams. We beat up on both of them. The confidence that we gained as a football team now walking into the playoffs allowed us to feel good and go win football games. We're going to continue to talk about for this Philadelphia Eagles team. Oh, well, they beat the Raiders. The Raiders stink. Oh, well, they beat the Commanders. Jaden Daniels not out there. Marcus Mariota got hurt. Beyond all of that, this is an offense that got a new offensive coordinator in Kevin Patullo at the beginning of this season. Throughout the entire season, we've talked about what's their identity. They're trying to figure that out. They're trying to get on the same page where players believe in coaches and coaches believe in players. Throughout the stretch of these last 4 games, they've already won 2. They play Buffalo next. They can win that game and then beat the Commanders. You're now looking at an Eagles team that we know has championship pedigree. A lot of those same players are still on there. You already mentioned getting healthy with Lane Johnson and Jalen Carter. Now you have a quarterback who's thrown 5 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the last 2 games. Then now we're walking in and you're like, you know what? We're going to get an empty and throw the ball.
Right.
We're going to double team guys up front and run the ball. We feel good about the plan that we now have moving forward, walking into the playoffs. So because of that, regardless of the opponent, I feel really good about this offense.
Yeah, listen, I think that team, to me, I got to see a little more than besides beating the Commanders.
Yes.
That game was a disaster, and I can't go crazy about beating the Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders are a horrific team. I got to see a little more. Now, the one thing I do like is both receivers last week played well. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, they have 185 yards combined in receptions.
Yes.
So they got them back involved in the game.
Yeah.
I am not going to really have a feel on the Bill and on the Eagles until I see them in the playoffs. I know this week Buffalo, but they clinched the spot.
Right.
They're going to be the 3 seed. I don't know what the urgency is.
Yeah.
Let me see them in the playoffs before I sit there and all of a sudden think they're back that they were. Good point. You played. You know how a team's culture is more than I would. But based on what I've seen as a person who likes to follow this, I gotta see a lot more than beating the Commanders on a Saturday night before Christmas and killing the Raiders before I think they're back on their beam as far as their offense is concerned.
I think when you talk about the formulas and like the run game that you're talking about and knowing their identity, going in these next 2 weeks and using that same formula and seeing what it looks like against a Bills team who really hasn't done a great job stopping the run. Can we go run? Can we go push them around and then flip it over? Their defensive front, can they shut down Cook in a very good run game? Because that's what they're going to face when they hit the playoffs. So I think it's kind of sharpening your knives this weekend, right? Of understanding what the Bills are, what they could, and then what they're going to face in the playoffs. I tell you, when I was in Indy, and I'm sure you the same way, but you kind of use these last few weeks, it might as well be playoffs because you want to try things against opponents or similar styles that you're going to go play. That's what they're going to get this next week. Not the Commanders, but this week.
Something I think that's interesting these last couple weeks, especially last week, with Jalen Hurts. 7 rushing attempts. Like, how much more of that needs to happen to carry over into this Bills game, carry over into the playoffs for this offense to take the next step?
Yeah, 10 rush. I love him getting 10 rushes a game, right? So whether it's out of empty, whether it's zone read out of gun, but again, I need to see them. I want to see them under as well. You can't do it all, right? Like, I understand that. But finding your rhythm to be able to do a little of both, right? Like, one drive is going to be empty, one drive is going to be, and figuring that part out. But the use of his legs and spreading apart, getting AJ inside and getting Smith at two, like those are hard matchups for defenses. And now you're basically removing half the defenses following those guys, and now you have open lanes where he can go get himself out there without taking unnecessary shots. Because the worst thing for him is taking a weird shot that your quarterback can't play anymore, right? So he has to have that balance. But I love 10 touches for him truly running the ball once you hit playoff time.
Courtney, to your point, it's been 14 attempts that he's had for basically 80 yards over the last 2 games. And when you are going spread, it allows him to see things right now.
All of it.
So now when I'm empty, I can see, all right, they're playing man, they're playing zone. Now, if I don't like the picture, I can take off and see where those open lanes are. So I think to that point, Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, now you're talking to Jalen, you're like, I think we found what works for us. And now moving forward, we can continue to do that as the players come across.
Now remember, they're going to play an NFC West
Who they
team
play is huge.
in that first round because they're going to be the 3 seed. And the NFC West losers, San Francisco, LA, or Seattle, one of those teams could be the 6th seed.
I wouldn't
because
want
Green
LA.
Bay's the 7th seed, let's say. And they're going to play one of those teams
I wouldn't want
in
I
their
don't
building.
want the Rams. I don't
And
want the
that's
Rams.
going to be a very tricky game to call.
I agree.
So what the Eagles do in the next 2 games, I'm not going to pay too much attention to because that first
That's a good
playoff
point.
game
I like that.
is
That's a
going to
good
be
point.
very, very hard
That's
for
a
them.
good
I
point.
mean, there's obviously like rest situations too that teams will take into account.
Closer to one and done than a Super Bowl run. Fact or fiction?
I'm going fiction on this one. And I know everyone's going to say, oh, they didn't play anyone. They played the Raiders. They played the Commanders. This isn't a team that has completely forgotten how to play the game of football. They won the Super Bowl last year, and I will say they can finish this season on a 4-game winning streak, and that builds confidence in what they've done over the last 2 weeks.
Raj, they did win the division in back-to-back years.
I'm not going to put anything past the team that can win the NFC East.
Whoa. Don't try to slide. That was way shady.
Way too
However
easy.
that tried to go down. No. Let's revisit that, Joe.
Who needs to win the Super Bowl?
Let's
When
go.
you can pull off something as unlikely as that.
Let's go.
They did that. They won the Super Bowl.
Have you ever heard such a thing?
Gracious.
Nah, this Eagles team. I think most of us have more faith in this Eagles team than I think our attitudes project. In part because when we're evaluating this Eagles team, we compare them to last year's team, and they're not as good as that team. But then when you look at the rest of the field, it's like they have an incredible defense. They have an offense that's been there before, a quarterback who's been the MVP of the Super Bowl. They have two receivers that can't be guarded, an explosive running back. Like, they have the pieces. There's no reason why they get in the playoffs, they can't make a run. If they lose one and done, I would be shocked. They get back to the Super Bowl, I'd be a little bit surprised. I would be shocked, though.
Saturday, back over to you. The Chicago Bears.